Good evening, everyone. The formal meeting of the Richmond City Council will now come to order. Madam Clerk, if you will please read the necessary announcement regarding Spanish interpretation services at this meeting.
Spanish interpretation is available in the council chamber. Please see a representative at the rear of the room to receive the appropriate equipment. Spanish interpretation is also available through Microsoft Teams for virtual attendees in need of this service.
Disponemos de servicios de interpretación en español en la sala de consejo. Por favor, diríjase atrás para recibir el equipo adecuado de un representante. La interpretación en español también se está poniendo a disposición a través de Microsoft Teams para los participantes virtuales que necesiten dichos servicios.
Thank you. At this time, the invocation will be offered by Rabbi Rachel Salston of Temple Bethel, which will be followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you, members of City Council and all those assembled this evening. Melchochev Stakal Mishpat, the one known by so many names, including in my tradition, the sovereign lover of justice and righteousness. Pour out your blessing upon the city of Richmond, upon its residents, its council members, and officials, faithfully devoting themselves to the needs of the public. In the Torah reading that Jews across the world will read this coming Saturday morning, this Shabbat, we read of the obligation to leave the corners of our fields and the sheaves of grain that we drop for the hungry. May this council uphold this divine mandate to provide for our siblings in need. May we come together across our differences and egos to serve this city and grant services and justice to its inhabitants. And let us say, Amen.
Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Clerk, if you would please provide the chamber emergency evacuation announcement followed by the public speaker guidelines.
Upon activation of the emergency alarm signal, all persons should immediately exit the building. Please use the exits to the left or right front of the council chamber or the east or west stairway outside the rear doors of the chamber. Do not use elevators or escalators. After exiting the building, proceed down 9th Street and enter the assembly area located in the former public safety building parking lot. Able persons should assist visually and hearing impaired visitors with exiting the building. Guidelines for speaking. Members of the public wishing to speak during public hearings and or the public comment period are generally allowed 3 minutes to speak. Persons appearing before council are not allowed to campaign for public office, promote private business ventures, use language of a personal nature which insults or demeans any person, including comments directed at public officials or staff members that are not related to their official duties, or address or question staff members directly. All questions are to be directed to the president of council. Failure to adhere to the guidelines may result in speakers forfeiting any remaining time and further disciplinary action as necessary, which could include barring from attendance at future meetings of city council for a period of 6 months. Thank you, Madam President.
And Madam President, all members of council are in attendance this evening except for Councilors Trammell and Lynch. If there are individuals standing in the rear of the chamber, they are asked to be seated where seats are available.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Are there appointments or reappointments for consideration this evening?
Yes. Members, for consideration this evening, you were provided board appointment recommendations from your standing committees. Is there a motion to approve the appointment recommendations as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Council is voting on the motion to approve the appointment recommendations as presented. Mr. Breton.
Aye.
Ms. Gibson.
Yes.
Ms. Jones.
Yes.
Ms. Robertson. Ms. Abu Bakr. Vice President Jordan.
Aye.
and President Newbill.
Aye.
Those appointments have been approved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Let's move on to the first speaker this evening for public comment.
The first speaker is Peter Finn.
Good evening. My name is Peter Finn. I'm a lead organizer with New Virginia Majority. I'm here to reiterate the importance of the Family Crisis Fund. Throughout this budget season, it has been disheartening and disturbing to see our city not treat this housing crisis with extreme importance by a lot of your actions.
I'm sorry, Mr. Finn. Please keep your comments not related to the budget. This is for items that are not on this evening's agenda.
Okay, then I don't have anything to say.
Mr. Finn, you would have opportunity to come back when the budget papers come up and provide comment at that time.
And Madam President, there are no other registered speakers for this evening's public comment period.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Let's move on to review the amendments to the agenda for this evening.
Yes, Madam President, proposed amendments to tonight's agenda are as follows. Item 1, ordinance 2024-312 will be continued to the Monday, June 23rd council meeting. Item 2, ordinance 2025-025 will be continued to the Monday, June 9th council meeting. Item 5, ordinance 2025-046 will be continued to the Tuesday, May 27th council meeting. Item 6, ordinance 2025-052 will be continued to the Monday, June 9th council meeting. Item 13, ordinance 2025-078 will be continued to the Tuesday, May 27th council meeting. Item 14, ordinance 2025-079 will be continued to the Monday, June 9th council meeting. Item 15, ordinance 2025-080 will be continued to the Monday, June 9th council meeting. Item 16, ordinance 2025-081 will be continued to the Monday, June 9th council meeting. Item 19, ordinance 2025-084 will be continued to the Tuesday, May 27th council meeting. Item 21, ordinance 2025-086 will be continued to the Tuesday, May 27th council meeting. And lastly, item 22, ordinance 2025-087 will be continued to the Tuesday, May 27th council meeting. Madam President, those are all the proposed amendments to tonight's agenda.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Is there a motion to accept the agenda as amended?
So moved.
Council is voting on this evening's agenda amendments as presented. Mr. Breton.
Aye.
Ms. Gibson.
Yes.
Ms. Jones.
Aye.
Ms. Robertson.
Aye.
Ms. Lynch.
Aye.
Ms. Abubakar.
Aye.
Vice President Jordan. And President Newbill.
Aye.
That motion was approved.
Madam President, the consent agenda consists of the following ordinances. Item 3, ordinance 2025-044. Item 4, ordinance 2025-045. Item 7, ordinance 2025-053. Item 8, ordinance 2025-073. Item 9, ordinance 2025-074. Item 10, ordinance 2025-075. Item 11, ordinance 2025-076. Item 12, ordinance 2025-077. Item 17, ordinance 2025-082. Item 18, ordinance 2025-083. Item 20, ordinance 2025-085. Item 23, ordinance 2025-088. And lastly, item 24, ordinance 2025-089. Those are all of the items on tonight's consent agenda.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. We will now have a public hearing on the consent agenda items. Are there persons present in the audience who are desirous of speaking in opposition to any item on the consent agenda? If you are, please come forward.
Hello, my name is Neil Ravishankar. I am a resident of, or sorry, let me say that I am speaking in opposition to item agenda number 9-2025-074. I am a resident of 903 North 28th Street, which is the property just behind the listed property. My main concern was that the agenda is for rezoning for a property that is finished in construction, and it feels like the way that the item is written, it's for a property that's to be built. So I just want to know if it is within the realm of the process for the property to be rezoned retroactively, or is this supposed to be how the process works? Because to me, it feels like the builder built the property, realized it was not in line with the current zoning, and then is trying to get the property zoned retroactively. And I just want to know if this would be allowed under the zoning ordinances.
Okay, so are you in opposition?
Yes, because it feels, yes.
Okay,
Mhm.
thank you. The clarification you're asking, I will see, someone from administration can provide that, but I am registering your opposition.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Sir, can you please restate your name?
Neil Ravi Shankar.
Thank you.
Mhm. Thank you so much.
Ms. Joy Hogg, are you directing this? Okay, thank you.
Madam President, Mr. Vonk from the Department of Planning and Development Review has his hand raised on Microsoft Teams.
Yes, please. If you would allow his comment.
Thank you. Kevin J. Vonk, Director of Planning and Development Review. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, with regards to this particular property, in terms of making sure things are compliant, obviously it is our goal to get things zoning compliant before they are constructed or finished. However, there are some cases where we find out about construction after the fact, if they've managed to bypass building permits and other things. Either way, it is our goal to get them legally compliant, both zoning and building code. And so this is a case here, but is also not the first and probably will not be the last case where we have to deal with this type of retroactive decision. If the council elects not to move forward with it, there would be a longer process of enforcement of working to remove the structure or alter it in some way to make it compliant. But that would be under the purview, that's the purview of the council.
Thank you, Mr. Vonk. At this time, are there speakers in the audience that desires of speaking in favor of any items on the consent agenda? If you would come forward.
Madam President, members of council, good evening. My name is Will Gillette. I represent the property owner at 902 North 29th. I did want to assure you that everything being done on this property is being done by right. It's a relatively large parcel. So what's happening is they are dividing the parcel and constructing 2 single-family attached dwellings by right. The SUP in front of you tonight will be to construct 1 single-family detached on the vacant portion of the property. All of this is in line with the Richmond 300 plan and was discussed with planning staff prior to application. I am glad to answer any questions y'all may have, though.
Thank you. Seeing no other persons desirous of speaking in favor, the public hearing is now closed, bringing it back to City Council for discussion. Members? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, if you would call the question.
Council is now voting on tonight's consent agenda. Mr. Breton?
Aye.
Ms. Gibson?
Yes.
Ms. Jones?
Aye.
Ms. Robertson?
Aye.
Ms. Lynch?
Aye.
Ms. Abubakar?
Aye.
Vice President Jordan?
Aye.
President Newbill?
Aye.
Those items have been adopted.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Let's move on to the regular agenda.
The regular agenda item for this evening is as follows. Item number 25, ordinance number 2024-329, to authorize the special use of 5728 Patterson Avenue and 805 Libby Avenue for the purpose of a mixed-use building including commercial space upon certain terms and conditions. That paper is before council.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Would the patron and/or their designee like to speak to the paper prior to public hearing?
Mr. Vonk has his hand raised.
Okay, thank you.
Good evening, Kevin J. Vonk, Director of Planning Development Review. Yes, in summary, this is a proposal to construct a mixed-use building at the corner of Patterson and Libby. Part of the reason for being here today in terms of the special use is to provide some exceptions from current zoning in terms of the height of the building and also the use of the space in terms of the lot coverage that does not meet certain requirements within the zoning ordinance. Staff has reviewed this and has recommended its support. It is aligned with Richmond 300 in terms of the future land use of the area. It does not violate any of the 6 special use criteria. And again, staff recommends its support and Planning Commission recommended its support as well. Since that time, upon request of the council member, there's been an amendment proposed and that provides a little bit additional public infrastructure improvements. And with that, staff is still supporting approval of this request. And I believe the applicant is present or applicant's representative who could speak to it. And I'm also happy to answer any questions either before or after the public hearing.
Thank you, Mr. Vonk. We will now proceed with a public hearing on this paper. Are there persons present in the audience desirous of speaking in opposition to the paper? You would come forward.
Good afternoon.
Please pull the mic down. Thank you.
Okay.
There you go.
Thank you. Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Tammy Rose, and I am a resident of the First District. And my community is the Westwood community, which is a historic community. And I am in opposition of this because of the impact it will have on the neighbors, not only our community, my community, but also the neighbors right now. As I travel through Libby and Granite, in that neighborhood, there are a lot of cars. It is impacting transportation, it's impacting traffic. And also it's impacting the neighbors because they are losing spaces that they used to have when they would park in front of their homes. I also believe that the number of projects that's going on in our area, specifically Glenview Enclave, where there are 11 houses that are going up that are 1.1 million plus. And within that area on Libby, there's also another project that will be close to the Joe's Market on Libby, which is supposed to have 26 units. And those units are going to range from 1.4 upwards. And so now we have not only the traffic and all the other places, which includes the infrastructure, but also we have cost of personal property, taxes for neighbors that may not be able to continue to live in that area, seniors that are on fixed income, as well as my neighborhood, which is probably the lowest impacted in terms of cost living, which have now seen houses that are going up in that neighborhood for 600,000, which most of everyone that's assessed in that neighborhood is around that 250,000. So you can see how that differentiates. The other piece is that as I looked at some
You
other
have 30
variant
seconds.
things. Okay. And so what I would like for you all to think about is the neighborhood, an historic neighborhood that has seen a lot of encroachment. And we would like for you to just think about it. There are a lot of places that are going up that's going to put some people out. And what we don't want to do is to do that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Are there persons present in the audience desirous of speaking in favor of this item?
Madam President, members of council, Jennifer Mullen on behalf of the applicant. As presented, this special use permit is a waiver of 3 feature requirements only. Height, which allows an additional stepped back 4th story, which is approximately 39 feet off of Patterson Avenue and 26 feet off of Libby Avenue, a reduced front yard, and outdoor dining on Libby. The B2 district would allow a 3-story building, but without the requirements of the special use permit, being high quality materials, detailing around the windows, fenestration patterns, varied facade treatments, step back at the 3rd and 4th stories, and 24 off-street parking spaces behind the building, all to allow the waiver of those 3 feature requirements. The project is consistent with the Richmond 300 in multiple chapters. The land use recommendation of community mixed use being 2 to 6 stories, equitable transportation being on 2 major mixed-use streets, of Libby being 6 lanes at this location and Patterson being 4 lanes, as well as high-quality places and diverse economy chapters, all of which guide the development for this property. It's also compatible with the existing development supporting existing businesses, consistent with height of recent redevelopments of 5 stories across Libby, 4-story residential developments south on Libby, and meets the criteria of the special use permit. It is not detrimental to the health, safety, and welfare. This is, again, a partial 4th story, authorizing approximately 4,000 square feet of additional space, then by right. All of the uses are permitted. The special use permit provides for a high-quality development that encourages pedestrian engagement and improves pedestrian realm by providing additional improvements on 2 wide major mixed-use streets. It does not create congestion in the streets. Again, with the partial 4th floor, we have 24 off-street parking spaces and approximately 81 on-street parking spaces in the adjacent community corridor, commercial corridor, that are approximately 40% utilized on average. It does not create hazards from fire or panic. It does not tend to cause overcrowding of land or undue concentration of population. It's located in an area that is specifically identified for more development in the Richmond 300, again, being on 2 major mixed-use streets. It does not adversely impact public schools, parks, or utilities. To the contrary, this project provides additional
You have 30
economic development.
seconds.
It does not interfere with light and air. Again, it's a partial 4th story on very large streets. The SUP meets and exceeds the criteria for a waiver of the feature requirements. We received staff support, unanimous planning commission recommendation, and has been revised based on multiple meetings with the community. Respectfully request your approval.
Thank you. Are there any other persons present desirous of speaking in favor of this paper?
Good evening, City Council. My name's Tyler Curry. I'm with the ownership group working on this project. Just wanted to touch on a few things that Ms. Mullen spoke on. Again, I want to thank you all for being here this evening. Madam President, thank you very much. We've met with the community quite a few times, not only the community, but various folks within the city planning. The project's changed multiple times throughout this based entirely on community feedback. We heard them, wanted to listen to them, and made changes based on that feedback. One of the major changes that we have decided to go with was the ownership group has committed to allowing parking after hours and on weekends to the public, provided it does not interfere with any of the tenants. And one of the items that was talked about early on with planning was the use of brick crosswalks at the major intersection of Libby and Patterson. And the ownership group has committed to donating those bricks if the city chooses to do brick crosswalks at that intersection. The ownership group will donate those bricks for the project. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Seeing no other speakers, correct, relative to this paper? In favor. Any other speakers desirous of speaking in favor? If you would come into the center aisle, that would be really helpful for us.
My name is Brian Luce, and I live in the First District, directly on West Franklin, within walking distance of this project. I've never gone to a community meeting before because I wanted to see what this was all about. And it was wonderful because the developers actually listened to the people that attended that meeting. So again, I'm in full support of the special use permit. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Council. My name is Jalen Randolph, and I currently live in the 8th District, and I support this project. I actually grew up in the West Hampton area with my grandmother. She picked us up after school and spent a lot of time in the area, but I support this project because I do believe it adds sensible development to a historic yet growing area. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so are there any other persons desirous of, come forward, please, desirous of speaking in favor of this paper? Any other? You would come and line up now. Okay, this is our last speaker.
Okay. Good evening, Madam President, members of City Council. Thank you for letting me to come up and speak this evening. My name is David Robinson. I've been a resident in the First District for about 33 years. I'm very familiar with this corridor. I've frequented the business there many times and never really had any problems in terms of parking or getting in and out of the area. And I've looked at the proposal and some of the issues that have come up, and it seems like the developer has, bent over backwards to kind of, accommodate some of the issues that have come up. And I believe that it's architecturally consistent with the development to the west and will replace a property that at that corner, it looks pretty close to exhausting its useful lifespan. And I've heard people raise questions about the parking. And as I stated, I've really never had any problems in frequenting these businesses, the restaurants and the shops when I've gone there over the years. So the bottom line is I support the requested special use permit because I think the project is well thought out and will add value and enhance this very special commercial corridor to the city's west end. And I would ask City Council and Councilperson Breton in particular to approve this project. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. That concludes our public hearing. Bring it back to council for discussion. Councilman Breton?
Thank you. So I have done a lot of work on this project. I've had a lot of conversations. I've convened the owners and many community groups and department heads to talk about the potential concerns that came up with this. I'm actually proud of the work we've been able to do around mitigating parking concerns, traffic issues, architectural concerns, and also very importantly, pedestrian safety improvements that were made in this project as well. So as a project, it is a very good project. I'm going to supporting it. I hope everyone else will as well. I do want to speak to the broader concerns around development and displacement in the city. They are very serious. We need to do everything that we can to ensure that we are not displacing people in the city. And there are many different channels that we do that. Some are citywide and some are targeted. There is a neighborhood nearby, the Westwood community, a historic African-American neighborhood that is nearby to this project. So Ms. Rose is right to say that community is under a lot of pressure of displacement. I have been working with her and with Planning Development Review around targeted solutions to protect that neighborhood, and we've been consulting with Ms. Rose and will continue to around that very important issue. That being said, this project, as I said, has been through many rounds of review. I want to thank the owners for being so engaged with the community and making so many changes. And I also want to thank all the community members for being so active and so collaborative in finding solutions to get to the current state of the project. So yeah, and I also want to thank the council for giving me the extra time to have some extra time on my first SUP to get to know all the different ins and outs of it. So I'm very happy with the way this project has turned out. I want to thank the owners for their work, and I want to thank the community members for working with me as well and continuing to work with me on these important questions around the city. So I will be supporting this paper.
Thank you, Councilman Breton. Any other comments from council? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, if you would call the question.
Council is now voting on ordinance number 2024-329 as stated. Mr. Breton?
Aye.
Ms. Gibson?
Yes.
Ms. Jones?
Aye.
Ms. Robertson?
Aye.
Ms. Lynch?
Aye.
Ms. Abubakar?
Aye.
Vice President Jordan?
Aye.
And President Newbill.
Aye.
That paper has been adopted.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Let's move on to consider the budget-related papers for this evening.
The budget-related ordinances are as follows. Item 26, ordinance number 2025-057 through item 32, ordinance number 2025-063. Those papers are before council for consideration.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Do we have any comment prior to public hearing? No, sir. We'll get to comment from you during public hearing. Okay, nothing from the administration. So with that, let's proceed to the public hearing. I will like to have just a show of hands of how many persons here are desirous of speaking to the budget-related papers. If you just raise your hand. Okay. It's just trying to. Thank you. Just trying to gauge timing. So with that, we will begin the public hearing on items 26 and 27. And I would ask that those desirous of speaking in opposition to those papers, if you line up and come forward.
Greetings, Madam President, members of the council. My name is Steve Salzberg. I am a resident of Richmond, Virginia, and have been for the last 19 years. I'm a member of RISC for the last 15. My vote always has been for a candidate that I think will represent those most in need in our community. This budget disappoints me. And it was in part because of my background. I was on the first Affordable Housing Trust Fund board, the very first. I was a member for 3 years. And, you know, RISC's involvement in this actually made it clear that we were so involved that we should have a seat at the table. So we indeed have a seat at the Affordable Housing Trust Fund board, and I was, as I said, the first RISC member of that. And it's been disappointing to me all these years that adequate funding hasn't gone to the trust fund. And the law was supposed to be that the retirement tax abatement dollars went to fund it, and that would have been millions of dollars coming into it. That didn't happen. It still's not happening. The tax abatement would have been a really opportunity for the city to meet the needs of those most in need in terms of affordable housing, and that didn't happen. So as we move forward, let's do better. Let's meet the needs of those most in need, and yes, follow the law. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. Thank you for this opportunity. My name is Beverly Bryant. I am a member of RISC, a team leader, and also a member of St. Elizabeth's Catholic Church in Highland Park. We are of the understanding that the city is concerned about wasting money on temporary but essential repairs, to mobile homes here in Richmond, that this is a poor investment. Really? I mean, don't we know from present experience that neglecting needs only makes things worse? It leads to failure. Point in case, the recent continuing water issues. Investment in the quality of life for our mobile home citizens benefits us all. They have the potential to contribute more to the community and to family life, and not be a burden, but a resource. Right now, many may be living shorter and more compromised lives due to chronic, deplorable living conditions, which cause and exacerbate chronic illness, particularly asthma. Yes, we need a long-term solution, but our fellow humans need our help now. I'm asking for $1 million in the 2026 budget for mobile home repairs. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Beverly Ross. I am a team leader for RISC and a member of Sacred Heart Catholic Church, South Richmond. Many of my fellow parishioners are those individuals living in the mobile homes in very deplorable conditions. As an advanced practice nurse, I also recognize the illness that is caused by poor living conditions. I am especially concerned about those young children who are suffering. They are experiencing respiratory diseases such as asthma, bronchitis, causing them to miss many days at school. This is costing the city because when they are ill, they must go to public facilities to receive care. When you return to the same environment, those illnesses simply return and worsen. I am asking, as a citizen of this Commonwealth, that you, as members of City Council, go along with the amendment for $1 million to support the repair of our mobile homes. Help these individuals now so that their suffering can stop. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Nancy Nelson. I'm a RISC member from Congregation Oromie and a resident of the 4th District. As a graduate of Richmond Public Schools, lifelong citizen of Richmond City, and a retired educator, 8 years of which were spent in RPS, I've had many students living in less than ideal or adequate housing and/or were homeless. The ramifications of that, which I've observed, include social, academic, physical, and mental health issues, all of which affect the children's success in school. Their school attendance for the aforementioned challenges is also adversely affected, creating more struggles as they get further and further behind in school. As we know, students who struggle in school oftentimes continue to have struggles in life, in all aspects of their lives. This is why something needs to be done now to repair mobile homes to a level where they are healthy and safe. These youth and their families can't afford the time or health to wait. On March 25th, Mayor Avula made a commitment in front of 2,278 people to budget funds for the mobile home repair program. The mayor broke that promise 2 days later on March 27th when he published his budget with $0 for mobile home repairs. Tonight, if you adopt this budget, you are all complicit in neglecting this urgent community need. We will not forget this, and we will not forget our neighbors. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Council. My name is Dennis Hawley, and I serve as a deacon at Sacred Heart Catholic Church in Manchester, and I'm a very proud member of RISC. A few weeks ago, I told you about my parishioners, families and elders living in mobile homes so deteriorated that they are a daily threat to health and safety. The mayor promised to center the marginalized. He even visited these homes himself, and we celebrate this. But this proposed budget, not $1 goes to mobile home repairs. How can we claim to prioritize justice, yet ignore people living in these conditions? A budget is not just numbers, it's a moral document. It reveals what we value and who we're willing to leave behind. And if we abandon the most vulnerable, then our values are hollow. Tonight, if this budget passes as is, you're choosing to turn your backs on the very people you promised to lift up. We will not forget, and we will not let you forget our neighbors. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Good evening, Council President, Councilwoman, President, and all council members here tonight. My name is Rob Waltenbaugh. I'm a RISC member from Bon Air Presbyterian Church. And 50 years ago, I swore an oath to serve our country in the United States Navy. My first assignment was to work with a Marine amphibious task force and support them. And you can see, I'm sure you recognize the shirt, United States Marine Corps. And this one has a slogan called Protect This House. Tonight, I wish these letters would stand for undeniably serving marginalized communities, okay, and protecting their homes. On numerous in-person meetings, both candidate and our mayor undeniably assured RISC that as a man of deep faith, he would lead with a compassion to serve the marginalized in our communities. On March 25th, Mayor even made a commitment in front of close to 3,000 citizens at our annual meeting, and he assured that he would have $800,000 in his 2026 budget for mobile home repairs. As you know, that there are $0 for this in his proposed budget. That would have been life-changing for the 50 families that now need these repairs to their mobile homes, to live a life that you would live in, and I would live in, and my children would live in without being sick. The mayor broke that promise on March 27th when he published his budget. We want to thank Council Member Gibson for making your proposal to add $1 million to the budget and anyone else that supported you on that. But tonight, as City Council, if you adopt this budget, I too feel that you're going to be complicit in the denying these families of this money that they need. And we're not going to forget your inaction for justice if that's the path you take. And we're never going to forget our neighbors either. Thank you, and I ask you to consider this tonight when you vote.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Alex Krieger. I am a resident of the 4th District of Richmond, a Presbyterian pastor, and a proud member of RISC. And I speak this evening against the budget motion paper because it does not include Councilmember Gibson's amendment for the $1 million for mobile home repairs. Some years ago, we had neighbors, church members who shared with us the issues with our mobile homes, the homes where they and their children are living, homes that needed some help to make it safe for them and their children. The last few years, we've had in our budget some steps towards helping that. And looking at our whole budget, it's just a tiny drop. Our rabbi spoke earlier about saving just the very end of the crop of the land for neighbors in need, and that's what this amendment would do. Would be just a tiny part of our full budget to help our neighbors, estimating somewhere around $13,000 to $15,000 per house to just make it a livable, healthy place for these families. I don't know a better solution, a better deal we could have as the city, and we've been doing that for some years. And then this year, we had our neighbors, again, speak so much who are in these homes. They spoke incredibly bravely, courageously with us, with our neighbor, with our mayor multiple times here at City Council, and I believe again this evening, that they've shown this justice and care and for themselves, for other neighbors, for their families. And what pains me with this amendment not being here is that right now there is nothing in the budget to help. There's no solution for them. What we're simply saying is that we're going to let you continue to live in unhealthy homes, even when we've had the solution. Right now, the only action is to delay the funds that are supposed to be given in June of this current budget, to delay it to the next year. That's not a solution. It's pushing it out and without any promise that there will be any more. We have so many families, so many neighbors who need this help, who need the solution. And it's just that tiny part of the field that the rabbi spoke about. And so I'm speaking against it because it does not include that amendment this evening.
Thank you.
¿Cómo? Que si lo... Oh, está bien. Muy buenas tardes. Mi nombre es Catarino Santiago. Yo soy miembro de la iglesia Sagrado Corazón. Alcalde se comprometió a dar los 800,000 para ayuda de arreglo de casa móvil, y eso lo necesitamos para este año. No tiene.
I apologize. So my name is Catarina Santiago. I am part of the Church of Sagrado Corazón. I know that there was a proposal made for the $800,000 for the mobile homes.
Porque yo vivo en una traila, y hace mucho falta de arreglo esa traila, y no nada más yo. La mayoría vecinos sufre por decir este tiempo de calor. Sufren y gastan mucho luz porque no fría la casa, porque se gasta mucho luz y se enferman los niños y se enferman los señores, y no tiene que pasar eso este año. Lo necesitamos ese dinero ya.
I live in a mobile home and I know that there was an arrangement to get the trailers fixed. I just wanted to let you know that I suffer myself as well as my neighbors in the community, and especially during with heating and now with the heat coming because of the summertime. I know that a lot of our families, including myself, will be spending a lot of money due to the energy being so high due to the inefficiency of the air conditioning and the well-being of maintaining our homes cool. Our children are getting sick, our neighborhoods are getting sick, and this is causing us a lot of conflict.
El alcalde ya sabe que ese dinero se va a ocupar para este año y lo tiene que soltar. No tenemos que venir muchas veces porque nosotros ganamos muy poco cantidad para estar perdiendo tiempo. Como yo vengo lejos de mi trabajo, tengo que pedir 1 hora y media para estar aquí presente. Disculpe la molesta. Muchas gracias. Con permiso.
And I know there was an agreement to release the money this year, and it will be very important. It for us is extremely important, including myself, because I actually drive an hour and a half to get here in order to be present. I just thank you so much for giving me the opportunity for speaking today and for being here.
Thank you.
Good evening, President Newbill. I'm Robin Allman, a member of RISC for over a decade and a city resident since 2020. I bought my city house at a tax delinquency auction in 2018, gaining a tax credit for doing so. I moved there in 2020. In 2021, I was delighted to learn that when my tax credit ended, the abatement would go by City Council ordinance to the Affordable Housing Trust Fund. Funding the Affordable Housing Trust Fund this way makes it so easy to accomplish. I was shocked to find out that none of my tax abatement will probably be allocated as directed by city ordinance, and I urge you to follow that law. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Martha Harper. I'm a member of RISC and Holy Rosary Catholic Church and a resident of Church Hill. I have a case study, a real case from the mobile homes. So imagine, if you will, that aging is hard enough. Imagine enduring it with chronic pain and limited mobility. And now picture a grandfather in that condition after a lifetime of hard work, living in a crowded mobile home with his adult child, her spouse, and 2 grandchildren. The older grandchild is thriving in high school, while the younger one brings daily joy and playful spirit. But beneath this warmth is a real troubling reality. Parts of the floor are dangerously soft, and everyone in the family has to step carefully to avoid falling through. There is no space for walkers or adaptive tools, and he stays quiet about his pain, not wanting to be a burden. This grandfather's deepest wish is simple: a safe floor for their family, but it is out of his reach. Please do not overlook the mobile home community. This could be someone you love. And I'll repeat that on March 25th, the mayor made a commitment in front of 2,278 people. Some of those were you, some of people here, to commit the funds for the mobile home repair. And then the mayor did not put that in the budget on March 27th when he published it. We want to thank Councilman Gibson for fighting to include those dollars and all of you who supported her. But tonight, as council adopts this budget, you are also complicit in neglecting this urgent community need. RISC members will not forget this, and we will not retire this issue. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Sandra Thomas Claxton. I'm a member of RISC, a team leader at Second Baptist Church in South Richmond. Many of our neighbors in Southside are living in mobile homes, and I want to tell you about a particular family. It's a home with an elderly grandmother. She lives there with 2 grandchildren. Recently, the whole kitchen ceiling collapsed, missing the grandson by inches. She's also in fear of the electrical system within the mobile home is in such bad shape that at any time she's expecting for a fire to start. She needs your help, and she needs your help now. Because the city did not allocate the $800,000 additional funds for the mobile home repair, like he promised in front of 2,278 people at our Near My Action meeting, this grandmother is among 300 other families that still need the help. Quite frankly, to you and to me, it is unacceptable. You could have exampled, did some other things with your budget, but instead, people got raises. And we know within ourselves, we have to give help to those in need. And while we recognize the need that, and the fact that this is not a long-term solution, it is what we need for right now and these people who are in help immediately now. Thank you much.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Brenda Hawkins, and I am a risk member, a team leader, and I belong to Second Baptist Church Southside. I live in the 8th District. My neighbors, many of my neighbors are living in mobile homes. And I want to tell you a story about one of these families. The father works as many hours as he possibly can because his wife is a full-time caregiver to one of the 3 children, one of whom is disabled. 2 of their 3 children suffer dramatically from asthma due to the mold in their home. The mold is a result of years of damage from rain due to little to no insulation in the home. The children's doctor has asked the mother about the living conditions in their home, and the mother feels powerless to help her children. These families, council, need help. They need help now. And in front of 2,278 people, our mayor promised to provide this help. To say now that he meant we will carry over the money that we had already won last year, well, that's just unacceptable. $800,000 was an easy find. It is 1/10 of 1% of our overall budget. And as taxpayers, we call upon you to use just a little bit of it to help these families. We call upon you to help. To say we're disappointed is an understatement, but we are hopeful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Keith Hales. I'm a risk member from Second Baptist Church. I live on the south side, where many of my neighbors are living in mobile homes. I want to tell you about one of those families. There's a mother and a father with 3 sons, ages 7, 4, and 2. Their trailer has no insulation, none. In the winter, that means it's bitterly cold. And in the summer, it's dangerously hot. And it also means their electric bill is through the roof. In February, their electric bill was $568. Their ceiling is sinking, and every time it rains, the parents fear that the ceiling will come crashing in on the kids. On March 25th, Mayor Avula made a commitment in front of 2,278 people to budget funds for the mobile home repair program. The mayor broke that promise on March 27th when he published his budget with $0 for mobile home repairs. We want to thank Councilmember Gibson for fighting to include those dollars and any of you who supported her. But tonight, as council adopts this budget, you are all complicit in neglecting this urgent community need. We will not forget this, and we will not forget our neighbors. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Donna Logwood. I am a team leader with RIS from Second Baptist Southside. But the title that I hold the most sacred is I care. I care about the least, the marginalized, and the poor. When you see something, it is important to say something. Those without a voice who feel their voice is not even a whisper deserves an advocate. Why? Because the advocate will stand up and speak up and call immediate attention to what is so disgracefully seen. The advocate says this: government exists to serve, hence the term civil servants. How are you serving when salary increases abandon the desperate, dire housing repair needs of those you serve? What is the sacrifice for the greater good known as your citizens? Each one of you have the power to change that. Each one of you hold the power to change anything in that budget that holds you to a higher good. Thank you. Thank you, President Newbill, for the opportunity of us speaking on this budget. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Kyrie Fields, and I work as a security contractor security officer with Blue Security, keeping Broad Rock and Hall Street libraries safe. I want to first thank council members who recognize the importance of the justice behind extending a living wage to city contracted workers like me through the budget. However, I'm deeply disappointed that despite the public and council support, the city still will not guarantee equity for workers to keep our city safe and clean. Instead of raising wages to help close the racial wealth gap and uplift Black and brown workers, the city has chosen to keep the same shameful practices of approving only poverty wages for their contracted city workers. The city is in fact balancing its budget on the backs of the lowest paid employees. If sacrifices must be made, they should come from those with greater means. I live with my mother and do my best to help with cover bills when I can, but it's a constant challenge. I receive no benefits, no paid sick days or holidays. I want to move out, build stability, and begin my adult life. Our fight doesn't end here. While we appreciate the city's willingness to explore options, we cannot afford to wait another year for the next budget process for any progress on this issue. As we are organizing to form a union so we can have a voice on the job, right now the city has an opportunity to do the right thing and correct some of the injustice. For the RFP for the city security contract is due June 2nd. The city must ensure that this RFP includes standards for the wages, for fair wages, and responsible contractors, and allows for unionization. Excuse me. We urge the City Council to continue standing with us in our fight for better work standards and fair process to unionize for the city contracted workers. You have the power to pass an ordinance requiring a living wage, ensuring the city contractors workers like me are prioritized in the budget next year. If the administration won't act swiftly, we ask you to lead, because we cannot wait any longer for fair pay and basic dignity on the job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Warren Campbell. I'm a community organizer and a resident of the 1st District. I am here to urge the City Council to approve the proposed amendments for adding funding to the Family Crisis Fund, Eviction Diversion Program, and the Right to Counsel Pilot Program. You'll notice I got up on the disagreement side because I don't believe that we're doing enough. Small steps towards providing adequate assistance are better than none. But when we talk about the housing crisis here in Richmond, we're asking residents to wait. We are waiting for new housing to add to the supply of available units so rents will go down. Because of tariffs affecting construction costs, this timeline for balancing supply and demand is sure to stretch even longer. We wait for wages to rise in Richmond City. Our governor vetoed a minimum wage increase in Virginia. Right to work laws prevent higher wages provided through union representation. We have to wait for the state to recognize tenants' rights. Our governor has vetoed multiple bills that would strengthen the power of tenants to right the legal imbalance lopsided towards landlords. I appreciate the willingness of the council to consider these amendments. However, our budget process has been plagued with an unwillingness to diverge from the status quo. Transparency and bold action have been in short supply. Residents of one of the top evicting cities in the country surely deserve more robust and resilient support than what has been proposed. For now, a small increase will help, but for many struggling families, they will have to wait until financial year 27. Many cannot afford to wait.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Erica Cannon, and I'm here with New Virginia Majorative to also ask the budget be increased from the $1 million proposed to $9 million for the Family Crisis Fund. I'm an individual renter. I do not have family. I do not have dependents. And I suffered in an apartment with such bad levels of black mold that it was uninhabitable. I had to hire an attorney to get out of a lease. I lost thousands of dollars worth of my own belongings. And this was hard on me alone. Weeks later, the water crisis happened. Again, I don't have a family and dependents that rely on me. I cannot emphasize enough, if I had family members, young children, if I had some of the things that they experienced in mobile homes, I would not be able to recover from this. It is dire that we change our allocation of funds to make sure people are not displaced, do not have harmful living circumstances, and are not wronged for simply going to work, paying their bills, and they should have healthy living conditions. Please consider putting more money into people who need it and correctly allocating funds to those who are in need. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, members of the council. My name is Amori Speed. I'm a community organizer alongside some of the other folks that just came up and spoke with the New Virginia Majority. And I work directly with Richmonders who have been and will continue to be affected by the current housing crisis. We urge that you approve the proposed amendments, or even better, find it in the budget to increase the amount of safety net funds that are being allocated this year towards the Family Crisis Fund, Eviction Diversion Program, and the Right to Counsel Program. I would like to emphasize that these funds are not handouts, they are lifelines for the people in the city. As the current #2 evictor of tenants nationwide, it is your duty to carry out the will of your constituents. And your constituents are saying that they need something to be done now. As this budget process comes to an end, and as we start to think about the next year, I hope that the city government will consider the entirety of the budget to be the people's budget. As we move forward, I hope that the will of the people and the people's voice will be the driving force when making these types of decisions moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all for the opportunity to still speak. Again, my name is Peter Finn. I am a lead organizer with New Virginia Majority. I'm here to reiterate the importance of the Family Crisis Fund. Throughout this budget season, it has been disheartening and disturbing to see our city not treat this housing crisis with the extreme importance by a lot of your actions, especially after our mayor stated the program needs to be robust and resilient. While some of our city council representatives did what they could to find money within the budget, it was also disturbing and confusing challenging when it came to gaining information about the budget amendments, and the number that the city was willing to allocate to the Family Crisis Fund slowly decreased over the course of the amendment process to where we stand today at 1 million. The Family Crisis Fund is an immediate answer to addressing the eviction cases that continue to take a major toll on our most vulnerable communities. I urge the esteemed council to stand on their words when it comes to supporting this fund and vote yes to the amendment that has been proposed. I was born and raised in Richmond and have worked with and experienced many hardships that come with making this city function. Although our request still stands at 9 million to adequately help the amount of families that need it, we stand in support of the $1 million amendment that will go towards the Family Crisis Fund. And we look forward to continuing to work with our city's leaders to continue to develop long-term and short-term solutions to get Richmond off of the list of top cities where the eviction rate is unacceptably high. Thank you.
Thank you.
Buenas tardes. Con mucho respeto me dirijo a cada uno de ustedes. Gracias por representarnos en este lindo gobierno que es Estados Unidos. Yo tuve la fortuna de entrar al país legalmente.
Good evening. With all my respect, I'm here to give my opinion. Thank you for representing all of us in this government for the city of Richmond. I have the privilege to enter legally to this country.
Mi nombre es Anaí Castillo. Vengo representando a todas las mamás solas que tienen que trabajar muchas horas para sacar adelante a sus hijos.
My name is Aniel Castillo, and I'm here representing all single mothers that have to work long hours to support their families.
Cosa que no se rinden, pero necesitan apoyarlas, por favor.
So we need to support all of them, please.
Justicia de vivienda para el aumento el fondo de crisis familiar para dar alivio.
I ask for housing justice to provide some breathing for these families and help with the housing crisis.
Y estabilidad a las familias.
And provide stable housing for these families.
Richmond es la segunda ciudad con mayor número de desalojos.
Richmond now is the second city with the highest number of evictions.
Es algo muy preocupante.
And this is very concerning.
Ojalá se tomen su corazón y vean eso tan triste para la humanidad.
I hope you touch your hearts and see how this is so sad for the community.
El país sufre de un aumento en renta sin ningún control.
We are experiencing an increase in rents.
Es algo devastador. Gracias.
This is very devastating for our families. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hola, muy buenas noches al consejo. Me dirijo muy respetuosamente a ustedes.
Buenas noches. I am here to address you respectfully.
Soy Claudia Arévalo, soy organizadora comunitaria con la nueva mayoría de Virginia en el capítulo de Justicia Inmigrante.
I am Claudia Arévalo. I'm a community organizer with the New Virginia majority here in Richmond.
Estoy aquí para pedirles que apoyen el Fondo de Crisis Familiar. Aumentar los fondos de este programa es tan necesario. Como organizadora, me duele ver que las familias están siendo desplazadas y los niños están siendo cambiados de escuela.
I'm asking here for your support for the Crisis Housing Fund. As an organizer, it pains me to see families being displaced through this crisis.
Los niños también son desplazados de la escuela por esta razón y esto hace que su educación sea más lenta.
Children are being affected in this crisis as they are being displaced in city schools and their education is being affected.
Esto es muy duro para las familias porque ellos tienen que trabajar por $12 la hora y además no tienen a dónde ir por no tener acceso a documentación legal en el país, por lo que también pido acceso para cualquier residente de la ciudad de Richmond sin importar su estatus migratorio.
Some of these families work for $12 an hour, and this is a very difficult situation for them where they don't have access to assistance. Some of these families are undocumented, and so I ask you to support them and provide a stable life.
$500,000 no es necesario para abordar la crisis de desalojos en Richmond, que son cada vez más altos. Somos la segunda ciudad con mayor número de desalojos a nivel de país.
A $500,000 fund is not enough to avoid this eviction crisis. So Richmond is the second city in this country with highest eviction numbers.
No permitamos que nuestras familias sigan siendo desplazadas. ¿A dónde? Cuando aman esta ciudad, pertenecen a esta ciudad y pagan sus impuestos en esta ciudad.
Let's not allow for these families to be displaced out of the city. These families love Richmond. They pay taxes in the city and they want to stay in the city.
Muchísimas gracias.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hello again, City Council. My name is Casey Miller, and I'm a resident of the 7th District and a renter in this city. I've spoken to you over the last several sessions about the plights of your constituents, my friends, family members, along with my own struggles. Instead of being listened to, I see instead a priority for raises and developments, and specifically raises to people that don't have to concern themselves with the fact that they're already paying over 50% of their salaries to these greedy management companies and landlords. I want to let you know that 1/4 of the residents in this city who are renters fall underneath that category of giving over 50% of their already low salaries to these greedy companies and landlords. If these workers are threatening to leave over a lack of 3.5% increase, then I say, let them. I, along with several others living in this city, are currently unemployed and would happily take up their current salaries. I want to build and work for this city, and I know a lot of other people want to do the same in this city. I've been met with so many disappointments during this city budget process. And now is the time where I'm going to implore you one more time to please just do better. Do not wait until we make the headlines as #1 in this country for evictions. Your constituents deserve these lifelines to have stability in these trying times. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. At this time, we will invite those present in the audience desirous of speaking in favor of the paper to come forward.
Madam President, members of City Council, Charles Willis, Executive Director of United Communities Against Crime. It appears I'm the only one that's standing up at this time that's in favor of the budget. Let me share with you why. I've been in this position many of years, for over 25, 30 years, and watching council go through the budget amendments, go through budget talks, go through public budget, where the public has came and gave many concerns about the budget. And I now clearly understand today how important it is that so many times that you want certain things and you listen to constituents like myself and others that talks about what we need in our community. It's not an easy job for you all to stand there and have to time after time after time go through a budget. But I stand for you today as a community leader that I say I do understand what you're going through. There are many things in the budget today that's being presented that I have questions about. But I know we need to pass a budget. And I congratulate you as council members and the staff, your chief of staff and others, and the city administration that has done this so diligent, hard work. I sit and I looked at our council woman from the 3rd District, and I looked at your newsletter that went out, and I saw the details of what you put in and what you put out. I saw Councilwoman Lynch, I apologize for calling names, Councilwoman from the 5th District, the budget amendments that you put in and the hard work. I saw the newsletters that went out. I saw the newsletters that went out, Councilwoman from the 9th, and so many of you all. So I say today, I congratulate you on working hard. I know it's not what you want all. I know it's not all of what we need, but I know we have to pass a budget. Please pass the budget tonight. And I leave you with these words. Let's get dirty and then clean it up later.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, at this time, well, we don't have any virtual, so at this time, the public hearing is closed. Bring it back to council for discussion. Okay, no. Councilmember Abubakar.
Thank you, Madam President. This is my first budget, and I thought I knew a lot about government, having studied it for basically my entire life and having worked in it or around it for half of my life. But you hear the nervousness in my voice. It's just because this is I didn't come to this decision lightly, but I do believe that there is a lot of good in this budget. There are good people, good projects. There's real investments in the 4th District and across the city as a whole. I'm not refuting that, and I'm not refuting the good work that was done to get to those investments. I'm grateful for all the good that is in there and for Mayor Avula for his transparency and his willingness to engage in open dialogue. But I will be voting no on this budget. My vote today is not a rejection of the good in this budget. It is a rejection of the process and the system of this budget. This budget will pass, but I'm going to vote no with my conscience. I do not oppose the many good investments, but I cannot endorse a process that so clearly misses the mark. Council, Richmond's co-equal legislative branch, was left with only around $1.9 million to shape in a $3 billion budget. That's why you all are here today, because you're fighting over $1.9 million. That's what's wrong. This isn't a new problem. This is not unique to this administration. Everyone told me this was how it's done, and that's exactly the problem. This isn't about this year or this administration. And again, I want to express my gratitude to Mayor Avula, his willingness to have an open dialogue and partner for change, including coming to my district meeting to share his perspective and field the sometimes tough questions directly from my constituents. He did that. This budget was largely settled before he ever took office, and I still believe in his leadership, his willingness to take feedback, and the ability to lead positive structural change for future budgets that will be crafted while he is mayor. My vote is not personal, it's structural. I believe the people of Richmond deserve better. We can do better. Several residents asked me directly to vote no, not to oppose progress, but to stand up for a more inclusive, transparent process. I know I'm not alone in recognizing that this is a shared commitment and a sense of responsibility for all of us to fix this process. Challenging the status quo is what we were all here elected to do, and I'm encouraged by my colleagues that others feel the same urgency. My vote is a protest of process, not policy, and it's the only way to make an official commitment to build a system that works better for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Jones.
Thank you, Madam President. And I want to thank everyone that came down tonight to express their thoughts and their opinions about tonight's budget. I have a little bit of a different approach that I'm going to take. I will support this budget. However, I want to acknowledge as my colleague said, that this is not an easy process. And so thank you to New Virginia Majority. Thank you to Kylie. Thank you to Riz. Thank you to all these folks who are here to stand up for justice, because that is what this is. But we also know that justice is not something that happens overnight. And I personally am not interested in burning something down or tearing something down on the first go round, because I want to make sure that what we build is sustainable. I don't want to keep doing this over and over and over again. And as we said, this has been the process for a very long time. And since it's been the process for a very long time, clearly we are not building the right blocks that we need to sustain this. And so my hope and my wish is that we actually work together collaboratively, not just be on talk or not just have talking points that sound good, so that we can do our due diligence, because this is not it. 1.9 million to support those who need it the most is not it. It will never be it. And I want to be clear on that. And because of that, we have to do different. We have to show up. We have to show up, and we have to listen. And so we heard today the needs. We heard the priorities. And I believe that although this budget will be passed, I believe that we are going to do the work that is needed. And we are going to do what the community has asked us to do. And so, community, I also want you to know that the things that you may see in this chamber is not all that happens in these council seats. We are advocating, we are standing up, and we are working towards a system that will encompass the liberation, for me, in my words, and freedom. Like we have to do this for all. I mean, the people's budget was an example of showing us how to do that. And then there are many other ways that we can work together to ensure that folks are not continuously coming in here telling us what we already know. We know what the eviction rate is. We know we're in a housing crisis. We know all these things. So we don't need another study. We don't need no more community engagement. We need action. And I'm imploring all of us, myself included, to put that action to work. So again, thank you to everyone. And to my council colleagues, I support all of my colleagues. There were many, 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 many amendments that didn't even make it on the paper. Many. And that is, like, to be honest, in real words, I'm really disgusted. I really am. Because we go through this process, and I'm not even going to belabor the point, but $1.9 million, knowing that we have 1 million already in just evictions. So what were we going to do with that little bit of money? So again, I'm not going to belabor the point. We are going to do what we have to do, but we need to be held accountable. Please hold us accountable. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Gibson.
Thank you, Madam President. So it's no secret that, from my perspective, the road that we took to get here didn't model a process that truly serves the interests of the public. Council members had less than 2 weeks to review and make amendments to a $1 billion budget. The public hearing to weigh in on the mayor's proposal was scheduled after our amendments were due. There was a delay in publishing our amendments, so the public even knew what possible changes were on the table. And our work sessions allowed very little time for this body to do the work. And these are really critical issues in a moment in our country's history when democracy and free speech are under attack. More so, this is a moment in our city's history where there is headline after headline which reflect undisputable dysfunction in our city. And this body, I believe, while our interests are good, we contribute to that dysfunction with a budget process that limits our ability to hear from the public and ultimately do our work. Residents want us to do more, not less. The public is not looking for baby steps. we, myself included, are looking for true transformation. So the budget falls short of that. It falls short not because the body did not consider amendments, because there have been times I've sat in the audience and I've been disappointed because nothing was on the table. There was nothing on the menu to advocate for, and that's frustrating. And this time that didn't happen. The amendments were there. But the reason it fell short was when this body identified what I believe to be reasonable ways to fund those priorities, we were told no. So my learning next year and my advice to the city's community of advocates is that we must fight both for the additions and the path to get there. That said, the city did make some modest concessions to the original budget, which gave us a path to include some changes in the proposal, which I believe are valuable wins. You know, we want additional funding for the right to counsel. We want additional funding for eviction diversion, and we ensured that the $3 million for the people's budget was fully funded. And I'm using the word we for a reason. These changes are because of the folks who showed up, because of you. And these wins, although they are modest, are worth shining a light on. I wanted to clap in support of many of the comments that were made tonight. And to the advocate that said, here, the entire $1 billion budget should be the people's budget. I was like, here to that, right? But as it stands now, this budget falls short. So I'm voting against the budget. But I still have hope, and I remain optimistic because this body has committed to revisiting our budget development process. Led by Vice President Jordan and Councilwoman Robinson, I'm looking forward to collaborating with them both on this, and my hope is that next year we will start sooner. The process will be more transparent so that we too can be held accountable to bringing the change that our residents deserve. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Lynch.
Hey, Bill. I think my colleague, Councilmember Abubaker, said it best. She's been in and around government, and many of us told her that, this was how the process happened. And until you're on this side of the desk and you really see it, it is hard to understand just how challenging it is to meet the unexplainable, unattainable need and the need that exists in our community, and do that in a budget that's already baked. I think having an early start, a much earlier start, Councilmember Gibson, to the process is exactly what we need. More transparency earlier on is exactly what we need, because you all, if you're not included in that mayor's budget, it's like fighting a gorilla with two hands tied behind your back. As you can see, many of us could not make the concessions and find consensus to make the cuts necessary to do what we needed to do to deliver for many of the amendments that we had on the table. The three that I felt most passionately about, which I think are the strongest tools that we have in the toolbox to redistribute wealth, which that is our job as a local governing body, any governing body that has taxing authority, is to responsibly and equity redistribute wealth to our people, is the Family Crisis Fund, the Trauma Healing Response Network, and yes, the many of the measures, risks that you have pushed for on affordable housing and the mobile home crisis. We have the solutions and the tools available at our disposal as a locality to lift people, to help people in poverty at times of crisis, in times of need, to put our money where our hearts are. And so often we don't. The only reason I sit on this council and continue to advocate or get my feet out of bed at all, for any of you that know me, is those very issues. So I feel like I have failed when I can't deliver on those things, because I know at the other, end of the day, like as we leave this chamber, the people that are really suffering, the people that are really truly suffering, that are struggling with how to make rent next month, pay their utility bills, feed their kids, maybe they've had their SNAP cards stolen. Those folks, we don't have an answer for. And the more money and the more funding that we lock up behind these walls and don't get out into the community, the more they suffer, the more they struggle. So, you know, there is a resolution, and there are proposals on the table to help move the budget process forward and start earlier and bring more transparency to the process. I look forward to discussing that. Hopefully we have a lot of robust discussion on that. Because I do think that some of the things that we could do to reform that process could be a game changer, not just for the public's sake, but for our sake, so we as a council can start earlier and work better with each other. I will be supporting this budget because at the end of the day, I think there is a lot of good in the budget, but there's a lot of frustration. I think on my end, a lot of our colleagues that we couldn't get more. But thank you to all of those who came out and advocated, who pushed, who continue to do the work in the community. I see you, feel you, love you, and wish that we will have continued success in the next year.
Thank you, Council Member. Councilman Breton?
So I want to say there are many things that are to be celebrated in this budget. There are many successes. There are great investments in affordable housing, great investments in our shared public spaces, great investments in our public safety, great investments for better services, and investments in eviction diversion. And there are also some very large gaps. And some of those gaps were so large that this body was simply not equipped with the process and the tools that we had to even begin to try to fill them. And there's no reason that it should have been that way. With more time and more information, we absolutely could have had those conversations. We could have looked for those savings. We could have debated those amendments, but we didn't have it because of this process. I will be supporting this budget, for the reasons that I said about the items that are to be celebrated. I also fully respect the important message that it puts out to vote against it. I think, and I absolutely respect that choice as well, because of the major flaws in this process. So the work that begins now is the fiscal 27 budget. The work begins now to lay out the process, lay out the timing, lay out the questions, the information that we're going to need so that we are not powerless to look for these things that we want to support and yet feel like we cannot, which is ridiculous. So that work begins right now.
Vice President Jordan?
Thank you. I just want to thank everyone who came out this evening. The first time I ever came to City Hall was lining the aisle right there to advocate on behalf of our school's budget. And it was astounding to see all the energy in that room and then leave with no increase that night. So we have come a long way. This budget does not have everything we want. There are things I care deeply about that went backwards. We will continue to fight for these things in future budgets, but there is a lot of good in this budget that we will be voting on tonight. I'm not going to vote no. If we vote no, we're further hurting the people. We are trying to assist with our amendments that we have gotten through. Are they all the amendments we wanted? No. This is an incredibly fragile economic time. I was very nervous when the mayor's budget came out the first day I read it. And we all need to work together to continue to lift up everyone who has needs. It may be in the budget we have now. It may be through community resources, mutual aid. We're in this together as a city. So proud to be a Richmonder. And again, I just want to thank everyone who came down. I want to thank the groups that met with my office, New Virginia Majority, SIU, others. I know you all care incredibly deeply about what you're fighting for. And I just want you to know that we heard you. Were we able to help and reach the limits? Were we able to help to the extent we wanted? In some cases, we were not. But again, this is a fragile economic time. I'm proud of the things that we were able to achieve, even if it wasn't everything. So I will be voting yes. And I appreciate everyone who came down tonight. Thank you.
Councilmember Robertson.
Good evening, everyone. I don't know that there's a lot more that I can say as it relates to this budget. I appreciate the work, Dr. Newbill, that you have led, and Vice President, Ms. Durden, same for you. The outreach that you've done, the collaboration that you've done. I want to thank our staff for the hard work that you've done. Many of our staff have not been with us a long, long time, but have put a lot of energy into trying to assist us in getting all of the amendments that were introduced. And I think it's important that the community recognizes that the combined dollar amount of amendments that were put in for this budget far exceed the few changes that were made. But I think it's also important for the community to know that, yes, we do hear you. There is legislation in process right now to deal with our efforts to address contract workers and bring in that minimum wage to what the city pays consistently that way. We're proud of the unions and your efforts that you have put forth to help us get to a better and more competitive workplace in the city of Richmond. We certainly are not going to resolve the housing crisis that we have before us. There are a lot of existing homeowners that need lots of support and lots of help. We want to minimize the level of displacement and the lack of affordability for our residents to be able to live in the city. Many of you are also employees of the city, and that's very important to us that our employees can afford to live where they work. I'm grateful for what we were able to get into the budget. I'm grateful that there's something in the budget for mobile homes. I'm grateful that there is something in the budget for eviction. I'm grateful that there's something in the budget for affordable housing. I'm grateful for a lot of things that are in the budget. And Vice President Jordan and I have been charged by this council to begin working now to start the planning process, revising our procedures and our processes and how we prioritize things with the entire council, with the mayor, with the administration, and with all of our stakeholders. And that's you, because every cent that we spend has come out of your pocket one way or the other. So we're in the process of looking at refining, changing, drastically changing where it's needed to make sure that you are involved in this process, that you understand the total burden that the city carries as it relates to operation of the city. And also the burden that we face as far as setting priorities to make sure we make it a decent and safe place for all residents to live and to work. So I'm looking forward to the opportunity of putting in, seems like we already got every other week schedule, which is going to add probably another 4 to 6 hours to our week. And I can assure you right now that this council works long, long hours. And we serve on a lot of committees. All of them, many of them, most of them related to the kinds of things that you raised concerns about. And we'll continue that work. And we hope that we can continue to have your trust, and where we don't, that you would grant us the opportunity to continue to build such. And we look forward to continue to serve you. It's an honor. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Robertson. I'm not going to be redundant, but I am going to start by saying thank you to all of you who came out this evening and not only came out this evening, but you've sent texts, you've had meetings with us, you've sent emails, and you've attended our meetings and shared your concerns, the areas that you'd like us to consider during this process. And I'd like to say we heard you. Were we able to get all the way to the mark? Not in all the cases. Were we able to really represent in the budget many of the concerns you've raised? Yes. But is it enough? No. And we know that. But we are unequivocally committed to continuing to work to address many of the items that were raised. I'll go to our contract workers and the desire to get to $20, the city's minimum wage. We're committed to that, but we're wanting to get that path forward and getting a date specific because there are different options for getting there. The collective bargaining, we had 3 entities last fiscal year, 2 more this year. We're committed to those things in terms of ensuring that the individuals who work for the city, who serve the city, are earning that kind of minimum wage that allows for the kind of life, housing, et cetera, that we all want to see for everyone. At the same time, we unequivocally have work to do. And so the charge, as Ms. Robertson, Councilmember Robertson mentioned, based on the feedback, and you heard it from every member here in terms of the desire to revisit our budget process, working in conjunction certainly with the administration, but unequivocally revisiting the process, looking at the timeline, the overall approach. We had work sessions. Were they enough? Probably not, but we had significant work sessions even in this process. But we know we can and we will do better on behalf of the citizens of the city, on behalf of you. And I just thank you all for your continued involvement, your continued support of the efforts. And when I say the efforts, for example, your willingness to be a part of the people's budget process and to give your feedback so that we could look at how we could address those items. And we'll be looking for even more ways in this process that engages communities. So thank you. Like I said, we addressed many of the items, not necessarily to the level that everybody was looking for, but we hear you, we share the concerns, and we'll continue to work to address the issues that have been raised. And I will be voting in favor of this budget as well. With that, Madam Clerk or Mr. Clerk, I think we have heard from all members. I'll ask you to call the question.
Council is now voting on ordinance number 2025-057 through ordinance number 2025-063. Mr. Breton?
Aye.
Ms. Gibson?
No.
Ms. Jones?
Aye.
Ms. Robertson? Ms. Lynch?
Aye.
Ms. Abubakar?
No.
Vice President Jordan?
Yes.
And President Newbill?
Aye.
Those papers have been adopted.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. We have I believe, an expedited resolution for consideration this evening.
That is correct. And the paper for expedited consideration this evening is a resolution to appoint R.J. Warren to serve as Council Chief of Staff. I will need a motion to expedite consideration of this paper. Councilmember Breton, will you make that motion, please?
So moved.
Councilmember Robertson, will you second that motion? Council is now voting on the motion to expedite consideration of the proposed resolution as read. Mr. Breton, and I'll ask people to exit the chamber quietly. Thank you. Ms. Gibson?
Yes.
Ms. Jones?
Aye.
Ms. Robertson? Ms. Lynch?
Aye.
Ms. Abubakar?
Aye.
Vice President Jordan?
Aye.
and President Newbill.
Aye.
That paper is before you.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I believe that all have had opportunity for some consideration in this matter. I will proceed to public hearing.
Is there anyone present who would like to speak in opposition of this resolution? Is there anyone present who would like to speak in support of this resolution? Seeing no one, the public hearing is now closed. Back to the council.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Members, do we have any comment, inquiry, et cetera? Seeing none,
Council is now voting on the proposed resolution as read. Mr. Breton,
Aye.
Ms. Gibson,
Yes.
Ms. Jones,
Aye.
Ms. Robertson, Ms. Lynch,
Aye.
Ms. Abubakar,
Aye.
Vice President Jordan,
Aye.
and President Newbill.
aye.
That paper has been adopted.
Thank you. I would just like to express our appreciation and certainly look forward to working with our incoming Chief of Staff and RJ. Welcome aboard in this new capacity. Look forward to your service and work with the council.
Madam President, would you now like to move on to the approval of the minutes?
I was trying to determine if we had enough time for comment, but I will wait. Our incoming Chief of Staff will have opportunity to share with us at subsequent meetings. So we'll move on to the approval of the minutes. I won't put you on the spot right now.
Yes, the minutes to be approved are from the April 28th, 2025, 4 o'clock informal and 6 o'clock formal meetings. If there are no amendments or corrections, then these meeting minutes will stand approved as presented. And they have been approved. Thank you.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, let's move on to address tonight's list of legislation for introduction.
Council members, the list of legislation for introduction this evening consisting of items 2 through 25 has been provided to you, and the legislation on this list is hereby introduced as presented. A copy of the list is currently available for public inspection at the rear of the council chamber, and an electronic copy and copies of the listed legislation will be available on the city's website on Tuesday, May 13th. Thank you.
Thank you. With that, we'll now move on to reports and announcements. And I'll start with Councilmember Abubakar.
Thank you, Madam President. First and foremost, shout out to Westover Hills Neighborhood Association for their home tour 2 weekends ago. It was amazing, and it's one of the coolest things about the neighborhood. Then we had our picnic this past weekend with hundreds of neighbors showing up and spending time together. Thank you to our local fire station who showed up and got the kids in the fire truck. Also, yesterday was the first day of music in the park, and it was by far the biggest music in the park that I've ever been witness to in 14 years. And it had a wonderful tribute to lifelong resident of the 4th District, Ann Shelton, who passed away last year. So I'm really glad to have been a part of that. Westover Hills is having their neighborhood association on Wednesday at 7 o'clock at the Westover Hills United Methodist Church. The Southampton Elementary School is having their schoolyard spruce up on Saturday and Sunday morning. Come join me for pulling some weeds and cleaning up. The Westover Hills Merchants Association, which hopefully will be reinvigorated after a long hiatus, is having their first organizational meeting, and it has to be close to a decade, on Monday evening. So that gives you a good sense of the health of our area. And then the Forest Hill Neighborhood Association and Southampton Neighborhood Associations will be having their meetings next Tuesday. As always, if you need to reach out to me, you can reach me at sarah.abubaker, ABUBAKER, at rva.gov, or my liaison, Timmy Seibert, at timmy.siverd at rva.gov. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Lynch?
All right, we run through the gamut of civic associations and meetings. The Caroline Civic Association hosted another wonderful Arts in the Park event this year. It was amazing. Thousands of people from across the state came to visit in this 2-day event. If you miss it this year, please remember it is every weekend, the first weekend in May. Their civic association will be meeting tomorrow night at Unity Church at 6:30 p.m. Dominion River Rock starts this Friday and runs through Sunday at Browns Island. You can learn more about the Sports and Music Festival by visiting riverrockrva.com. Maymont Civic League is meeting on Monday, May 19th at 7 p.m. at the Maymont Foundation Building. And we are happy to host DPW Director Bobby Vincent and his crew at our district town hall this Thursday, May 15th at 6 p.m. at Woodland Heights Baptist Church. Also, we'll be joined by our auditor. So come on down. It'll be a great meeting. The Oregon Hill Neighborhood Association is meeting on Tuesday, May 27th at 7 p.m. via Zoom. And the Uptown Association is also meeting on Tuesday, May 27th at 6 p.m. You can reach me by calling 804-646-5724 or emailing stephanie.lynch or amy.robbins@rva.gov. Thank you. Look forward to seeing you in the district meeting.
Thank you. Councilmember Robertson?
Thank you, Madam President. First of all, I'd like to thank our famous garden club for their garden tour on May the 3rd. We got an opportunity to visit a lot of our neighbors' backyards and front yards, and I'm grateful that the Ann Hardy Community Center has taken a lead in helping us to do that annual event. On May 15, Bellmead Civic Association will have their standard meeting that starts at 6 o'clock at 1800 Lynn Haven. On May the 22nd, excuse me, at the Annie Giles Center at 6 o'clock, Eastview will be having their standard community meeting, and a special emphasis will be placed on an SUP that is being proposed in the area. On May 31st, the Wickham community will be having a community walk to unify the community and address some safety concerns. That will be at Wickham and Sussex Street. On June the 5th, there will be a special meeting held at Overby Shepherd Elementary School, where we're going to be entertaining several SUPs that are coming before the Planning Commission that communities have expressed lots of concerns about, in addition to the 1,000 plus affordable housing units that are being built pretty close to the center area of that Highland Park community. Also, would like to invite everyone to show up for our Amphitheater on the River commemorative opening, which will be on June the 4th, starting, I think, around 6 o'clock in the afternoon. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Councilmember Robertson. Councilmember Jones?
Thank you, Madam President. This Thursday, May 15th, is our monthly 9th District Town Hall meeting at Southside Community Center. We will have the entire city leadership, and they will be there to present on what now, because the budget has passed. And interpretation services and childcare will be provided. As you know, we have the best playground, says TikTok right now. So come on, bring your kids while we have our meeting. And then next Tuesday, May 17th, the keys to home ownership There will be a keys to home ownership session at the main public library from 9:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. And you can sign up at virginiahousing.com/find-a-class. What's happening at the local library. So our Broad Rock Library, who is always doing amazing things, every third Monday is blood pressure screenings by the American Heart Association from 3:30 to 5:30 p.m. Every Monday through Thursday is homework help and reading together from 3:30 to 5:30 p.m. And every Thursday from 11 a.m. to 12:30 p.m., Shalom Farms Mobile Market shows up and has fresh fruit and affordable local grown fruits and vegetables. For more info, you can reach out to the Broad Rock Library by via website or stop by and get to know the librarians. If you haven't signed up for our newsletter, you can reach out to my liaison, taya.west@rva.gov. But as always, you can reach my office at nicole.jones@rva.gov or by phone 804-646-2779. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Jones. Councilmember Gibson.
Thank you, Madam President. So our next third district meeting will be May 21st at 6 p.m. at Richmond Community High School. We'll have a member of the planning department give a presentation on the code refresh and answer questions about that. On that same note, code refresh working groups are starting to meet. All meetings are open to the public. The equitable transportation working group meeting is on May 13th from 5 to 7 in the 5th floor conference room of City Hall. The diverse economy working group meeting is on May 19th from 4 to 6, the main library at 101 East Franklin. And also the next general meeting for the code refresh zoning advisory is council will be held on May 14th from 4 to 6:30 at City Hall. Again, all these meetings are open to the public. The next outreach event in the north side for older adults and persons with disabilities real estate tax relief program will be tomorrow at Pine Camp from 1 to 3. And this is an info session on the program. As always, please be sure to sign up for our mailing list, which can be found at the rva.gov website. And if you have any questions or concerns, please reach out to me at kenya.gibson@rva.gov and our district liaison, Sarandon, at Sarandon, SARANDON.ELLIOTT@rva.gov or call the office at 804-646-6055.
Thank you, Councilmember Gibson. Councilman Breton.
I'd like to congratulate the Museum District Association for a great Mother's Day house tour yesterday. And I recommend that anyone anywhere in the city come check that out next year. I want to let you know that this Saturday is the citywide e-cycle day. So take your batteries and old electronics and old broken phones down to Robin Hood Road at the Parkerfield Annex from 10 to 2, and they will take your old recycling, your hazardous waste, any paper shredding as well. We are adding an extra community district meeting on June 2nd, centered around traffic safety and with the Department of Public Works. So be on the lookout for some pre-surveys and opportunities to send questions in advance for that meeting on June 2nd at Mary Mumford. Lastly, to reach me, you can email me at andrew.breton@rva.gov. Always copy my liaison, whitney.brown@rva.gov. And before that, you should definitely always try 311, which is the best way to get help in the city.
Thank you, Councilman Breton. Vice President Jordan.
Thank you. I want to highlight my May 2nd District Community Meeting. In addition to my office, we will have several guest presenters. The date is Wednesday, May 21st, 5:30 p.m. at Midtown Green. That is an earlier start date because we have a hefty agenda, which includes we are going to have our school board member, Katie Ricard, Richmond Public Libraries discussing their summer programming, updates on the North-South Pulse from GRTC. Just as a reminder, we are adding to the Pulse network with a north-south route, and a section of that will be coming through the 2nd District. So they will be on hand to talk about where we are in that public feedback and proposals for stations. We will also have updates on code refresh process from the Planning Department, greetings from candidates for both the Commonwealth Attorney and Sheriff's offices. We will recap the budget that we just voted on, as well as other things. If you're not able to join, every meeting that we host, whether it's virtual or in person, is recorded and posted onto our YouTube channel. I think the Speed Management Symposium has already been highlighted, May 22nd at Main Street Station, second floor. That's always a fantastic opportunity to interact with the city staff. Reminder that the June primary is underway. Early voting has started. It runs through June 14th. As a reminder, Richmond voters will not only have statewide candidates on their primary ballots, but also 2 contested local elections for Commonwealth Attorney and Sheriff. You can find out more information and check your ballot at rva.gov/elections. You can contact my office at 804-646-6532. We always post updates to Facebook, Twitter, and Reddit at Catherine J. RVA. And as always, you can reach out to myself or fabulous Second District Liaison Sven.Phillipson at rva.gov. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice President Jordan. Just a few updates. We have a few district activities. May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and so you're invited to join the Commonwealth's Attorney, Colette McEachin, for her 8th community conversation on this Wednesday, May 14th, from 1 to 3 p.m. at the VCU Health Hub at VCU Health Hub. That's located at 1330 North 25th Street, Suite A. And again, the time is 1 to 3. It's an opportunity to learn from experts in the field and engage in conversations about how mental health impacts justice. Again, that's this Wednesday. Another community event, the East End Block Parties, Block Party, not parties, sponsored by Bon Secours, will occur Saturday, May 17th, 12 noon to 3 p.m. And it is an opportunity to certainly get information in terms of mental health resources. There'll be live DJ, live line dancing, cardio, hip hop, yoga, art activities, kids zone, food trucks. And there'll be, and we're really excited about this as well, opportunity to work with the artist Hamilton Glass, who will be painting new street murals in celebration of May as Mental Health Awareness Month. Again, that is Saturday, May 17th, and it will be at the Sarah Garland Jones Center, 2600 9 Mile Road. Child Savers will have a 100-year anniversary block party on Saturday, May 17th from 12 to 5. We're going to be very busy on the 17th, so you'll make rounds, hopefully. But Child Savers is hosting a block party, and they wanted to certainly extend invitation to the broader community. They've been serving Richmond children and families 100 years. And so the location is the Overlook at Child Savers, 200 North 22nd Street. Again, Saturday, May 17, 12 to 5 p.m. Couple of civic association meetings. The Church Hills Central Association will meet on Tuesday, May 13th, tomorrow, 6 p.m. at the Easton Library, located at 1200 North 25th Street. The Church Hill Association will meet on Tuesday, May 20th at 7 p.m. at St. John's Church, located at 24th and East Broad Street. Our next 7th District Community Meeting will be held on Thursday, May 29th, 6 p.m. at the VCU Health Hub, located at 1330 North 25th Street. The agenda we have lots of items we'll need to update you on, and so it may go for at least from 6 until at least 7:30. Our school board representative will provide an update, as well as our librarian, East End Library, will have public safety update, public works, as well as budget overview. Look forward to your joining us. For additional information, you can contact my liaison, Sam Patterson. His cell is 804-241-7544, or you can contact me, my cell, 804-543-7837. Thank you. With that, members, I believe we have concluded the agenda for this evening's meeting. This meeting now stands adjourned.